Hi, I'm Albert, and I'm the developer inventor of the PMPA tool, which helps get your company's project requirements from the project charter to development-ready work item in minutes and not months. And today I wanted to talk about the use of AI in the product development part of your organization and some of the problems and challenges that I've run into in talking to some of the stakeholders while I was developing the PMPA tool. And a lot of them have really come, at odds with using AI tools. Frustration, really, about sort of the garbage and hallucination that has come out of AI. And I think the forecasting that I see, unfortunately, is there's going to be a large-scale abandonment of AI in product management and especially project management if there's not a better adoption of a process-based adoption of the tool. And so what do I mean by that? Well, in my investigations and studies with the many product managers that I've come across in the last 25 years that I've reached out to, they've taken the experimental, exploratory methodology of bringing up a chatbot, whether it's an OpenAI based or a Copilot based, paid for or free, something that's provided by their company or something they found on their own, and they start to freeform chat with it. And there's no structure to it. They experiment and they get different results. And there is no guidance there. They don't know what type of LLM they're talking to. They don't know what version, 2.5, 3.5. Is it a mixture of experts? Is it a single expert? They don't know. They don't have that level of expertise. They don't know how to frame an agent. They don't know how to structure the conversation. And so they're getting very interesting and random results that come back. They don't understand the size and limitation of the context or how to start the contextual of the conversation. And therefore, they're getting random results back. They're expecting to be able to have the same conversation over and over again to test it. And say, if I continue to give it these requirements and these information points, I should be getting relatively the same type of response structure back, and they're not getting that. So they're losing that trust. And because there's no transparency in the thought process, the structure, the activities, they are just backing away from it because they're not going to be able to go back to their leadership, to their stakeholders, to their customers, whether they're internal or external to their organization and activity, and provide reasoning. And so that's going to just be extra work for them. So I think there is just really a lack of transparency and trust cycle, which is going to cause a lot of the people in this industry, the product management and project management, to really just back off from using AI wholesale. So in that learning process and that discovery of working with these very well-respected 20, 25 plus year experience in the field, I really took a different approach to the PMPA tool and built a lot of transparency and structure into it. So the whole approach here is not that you give it a project charter, you press a button, and then whiz bang, the end result comes out. The approach is more that you incrementally walk through the stages of developing your requirements from that project charter through several discrete stages with human review along those stages. And at every stage, there's clear outputs that show decisions from the LLM that show you, what am I doing? What am I looking at? What documents am I supplementing that you've given me? Am I supplementing? What is the analysis of those documents, those attachments? And what are the results of me analyzing, again, the LLM, analyzing those documents and contributing to the outputs? And then those outputs, you have the opportunity as the product manager to reject it wholesale or modify that before you take the next step. So if there is some level of hallucination or garbage that gets created at one of these interim steps, you as the product manager have some opportunity to intervene, to understand why did it create this misdirection here? And is there a chance to correct it before there's a runaway, a waterfall of garbage that gets created in further downstream work items? Because you definitely don't want to get down to the very small details, the subtasks, the technical tasks, and 5 levels up, there was something that went wrong and you don't know how. So with that approach, I got a lot of really good positive feedback from the product leaders, and in several cases, we found some very interesting behavior patterns that were actually coming from the product owners themselves as they're writing the product requirements, whether it's at the project charter level or even when they're writing descriptions about features. they're finding that they're making assumptions in what they're writing, that they're assuming the reader knows certain things that the reader does not know. They, as the product owner, have those assumptions in their head, and the reader, the AI agent, the LLM, or even the developer, the engineer, the lead, the QA manager, they don't know those things. And so it's illuminating the fact that their requirements, although they may not be not clear, they are clear, but they contain a lot of hidden assumptions that are in the product manager's head. So what it actually has developed is it's developed these short iterative cycles of product requirement development that allows the product owner, the product manager, to go through these iterative steps, again, in very, very short cycles using the LLM, to take in the project charter, generate a set of features, analyze those features by the product owner, product manager, and then realize that the assumptions they had in their head are not being clearly transmitted through their documentation. The LLM is not understanding it, not interpreting it. They can immediately go back and I've witnessed this, I've worked with the product owners, within minutes they can go and modify their project charter, change some of the bullet points, add some clarification text, hit that button again, and again, within minutes have all brand new features created by the LLM. So what would have taken hours and hours to redo previously is now done in just minutes. So if you could imagine the advantage of looking at a project charter, giving it to your product owner, and he or she takes a week, 2 weeks to write all of your features, hands it back to you, and you say, oh my gosh, you got something fundamentally wrong here. You misinterpreted, you misunderstood, or I misstated as your product manager. There were some assumptions that were missed. Here, let me update those, go back and spend another week doing it. Now, let's contrast that with the PMPA tool. I can just fix those assumptions within 2-3 minutes, press a button, and then have all the features rewritten in 3 or 4 minutes. So a multi-week cycle can be corrected to less than an hour, less than 30 minutes, and sometimes within 15 minutes is what we've seen. And if you continue that iteration of improvement, all the way down through the iterative cycle, all the way down to the technical subtask level, you're saving yourselves weeks, if not months, of time in your project schedule to get your product requirements down to the delivery, the development ready standpoint. So I think it's very important that the AI tools that are out there, although they're claiming these great things, and I think there's a lot of wonderful things they can do, if they're not structured well, and I would argue that they're just not, and if the people who are using them are not trained well or they don't understand how to incrementally use them, and again, I would argue they're not AI specialists, they're product owners, they're product managers, they're software developers who are writing software code and not being trained how to use LLMs, they're project managers who don't know how to interact with these machines, there's going to be a wholesale pushback. And I think, unfortunately, companies who are pushing hard from the top down are going to get, and I'm seeing it already, a big pushback from these individuals just saying, it doesn't work. I'm giving up. I tried. It doesn't work. I don't know how to use it. It's garbage. It's hallucinating. And that's going to come back up to the leadership. And leadership's going to say, well, my best people tried it and it's not ready yet. It's good, but it's not ready yet. We'll wait for version 2. We'll wait for version 3. So what is that going to mean for the companies who do learn how to adopt to it, who do figure out the right tool sets, who either build their own tool sets or find tool sets like I believe the PMPA is, and adopt it quickly and use it quickly? Well, it means those companies who learn how to use it or get the tool sets that can use it very quickly are going to accelerate themselves faster than those who don't. So with that bit of advice, I wish you the best of luck. Introspect on that a little bit. Has that happened to you or maybe to someone you know? And is that advice fruitful for you to take maybe a different look at how you've been using AI in your product management or project management pursuits? And please give our PMPA tool a try. Take a look at some of the demos to see if we can help you get your product requirements from project charter to development ready work items in minutes and not months. So have a great day. Thank you.